The ego, when overactive or unchecked, can severely disrupt social relationships. Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel Egopedia. Please click the bell icon and don't forget to subscribe, whether personal, familial, romantic, or professional. Below is a detailed and comprehensive explanation of how ego negatively impacts human social interactions, structured by psychological dynamics, behavioral expressions, real-world examples, and long-term consequences. What is ego in social contexts? In social interactions, ego is the part of the self that seeks to protect image and pride, craves recognition and superiority, fears vulnerability or rejection, insists on being right or in control. While some ego is necessary for confidence and self-advocacy, an inflated or defensive ego can cause conflict, misunderstanding, and alienation. 2. Core negative impacts of ego in social relations. A. Inability to admit fault or apologize behavior. Refusing to acknowledge mistakes. Justifying wrong behavior rather than taking responsibility. Shifting blame onto others. Consequence: erodes trust and respect, prevents conflict resolution, leads to lingering resentment. Example: in a workplace disagreement, an ego-driven manager may refuse to admit an error in judgment, blaming subordinates instead, damaging morale and team cohesion. B. Poor listening and communication behavior. Talking more than listening, interrupting or dismissing others' opinions, responding defensively rather than openly. Consequence: others feel undervalued or unheard. Reduces emotional intimacy. Increases miscommunication and arguments. Example: in a marriage, one partner may constantly override the other's concerns by saying, "You're overreacting," shutting down emotional communication. C. Judgment and superiority. Complex behavior. Acting condescending or self-important. Criticizing others to feel superior. Overcompeting instead of collaborating. Consequence: alienates peers and friends. Cultivates envy, insecurity, or defensiveness in others. Reduces collaboration and mutual support. Example: in social circles, someone constantly bragging about achievements may push others away and end up feeling lonely or misunderstood. D. Sensitivity to criticism. Behavior: overreacting to feedback, taking suggestions as personal attacks, defending reputation at all costs. Consequence: hampers growth and self-improvement, creates a tense or walking on eggshells environment, discourages open dialogue. Example: a team member who becomes hostile when given constructive feedback eventually gets excluded from meaningful discussions. E. Manipulation and control behavior. Using guilt, blame, or emotional pressure to influence others. Controlling conversations or outcomes to protect self-image. Gaslighting, making others doubt their perceptions. Consequence: creates toxic power dynamics, undermines emotional safety, breeds fear, resentment, and emotional withdrawal. Example: a parent who constantly reminds their child of all their sacrifices in order to control the child's decisions, damages trust and emotional independence. F. Competition over cooperation behavior. Constantly trying to win in discussions or arguments, viewing others as threats instead of allies, resisting teamwork or group efforts unless leading consequence. Reduces teamwork and collaboration, encourages isolation or hostility, undermines collective progress. Example: in corporate settings, an ego-driven executive may block team initiatives to preserve personal credit or influence, causing resentment among coworkers. 3. Long-term social consequences of ego. A. Relationship breakdown. Erosion of trust and empathy leads to emotional disconnection. Accumulated unresolved conflicts result in estrangement, divorce, or friendship loss. B. Social isolation. People may avoid those who are arrogant, dismissive, or emotionally unavailable. Over time, egocentric individuals may find themselves surrounded by superficial connections or yes men rather than genuine relationships. C. Toxic environments. In families, schools, or workplaces, ego-driven behavior fosters environments where people fear judgment, communication is strained, growth is stifled, conflict is constant. 4. Psychological roots of ego-driven social behavior. Understanding the roots helps explain why ego harms social bonds. Ego trait root: cause social impact arrogance, insecurity, or fear of inadequacy. Others feel belittled or dismissed. Defensiveness: fear of judgment or loss of control, blocks honest conversations, control anxiety over unpredictability, stifles others' autonomy. Need to be right: validation of self-worth through correctness, creates argument-based relationships, avoidance of apology, shame, or vulnerability, prevents repair of emotional ruptures. 5. Ego and emotional intelligence. High emotional intelligence, EQ, is often inversely correlated with ego domination. Where ego resists vulnerability, EQ embraces it. Compare. Aspect: ego-driven response. Emotionally intelligent response: feedback. That's wrong, you don't understand. Thanks for the input. Let me reflect on it. Conflict. I'm right, you're wrong. Let's try to understand each other. Apology. It's your fault too. I see how I hurt you. I'm sorry. Success of others: envy or competition, celebration and support. 6. Cultural and social amplifiers of ego. Social media encourages comparison, curated perfection, and validation seeking, which inflates ego and reduces authenticity. Corporate culture often rewards ego-based traits like dominance, assertiveness, and self-promotion over empathy and collaboration. Cultural norms. In some societies, pride and saving face are overemphasized, discouraging open emotional expression. 7. Healing and transcending ego in relationships. A. Cultivate self-awareness. Regular self-reflection. Am I reacting out of ego or empathy? Observe emotional triggers without judgment. B. Practice vulnerability. Express feelings honestly, even if they reveal perceived weakness. Say, I was wrong, or I don't know, without shame. C. Embrace empathy. Ask, what's it like to be in their shoes? Listen not just to reply, but to understand. D. De-emphasize winning. Let go of being right in favor of being connected. Prioritize mutual respect and shared understanding. E. Seek feedback and growth. Welcome perspectives, even if uncomfortable, as a chance to grow. Engage in therapy, coaching, or personal development. Conclusion. The ego, when unchecked, acts as a barrier in social relationships, hindering connection, trust, cooperation, and love. While it seeks protection and affirmation, it often achieves the opposite: conflict, isolation, and emotional emptiness. True strength in relationships lies not in egoic dominance, but in vulnerability, empathy, and humility. Transforming the ego from a wall into a window opens the way for authentic human connection and lasting social harmony. Certainly. Let's continue by deepening the analysis of how ego negatively affects social relationships, this time focusing on more subtle manifestations, relationship types, ego triggers, and scientific research that underlines these dynamics. 8. Subtle manifestations of ego in relationships. While ego can be overt, e.g., arrogance, it often appears in more covert forms that still damage relationships. A. Passive aggression, using indirect resistance or sarcasm rather than honest expression. Example: saying whatever you want with resentment instead of communicating true needs. B. Silent treatment. Withdrawing emotionally or refusing to communicate to punish the other. It creates emotional confusion and blocks resolution. C. Need for validation. Constantly seeking praise or reassurance to feel worthy. Over time, others feel emotionally burdened or manipulated. D. Conditional love or approval. Ego says, I'll treat you well if you agree with me, praise me, or do what I expect. This transactional love feels unsafe or controlling. 9. Ego's impact across specific relationship types. A. Romantic relationships. Power struggles. Ego competes for control, dominance, or who is more right. Jealousy and possessiveness, stemming from insecurity masked as love. Withholding affection. Ego punishes perceived slights, creating emotional distance. Perfectionism, demanding flawlessness from the partner to maintain ego's ideal image. B. Friendships. One-upmanship, constantly comparing achievements. Lack of reciprocity, expecting support but not offering it. Fear of vulnerability, ego avoids sharing struggles, making connections superficial. C. Family dynamics. Parent-child ego battles. Parents may project unfulfilled dreams or control to validate their worth. Sibling rivalry, driven by ego, comparing success, attention, or love. Generational ego clashes. Older family members may insist on being right out of pride, dismissing younger views. D. Professional relationships. Micromanagement. A manager's ego may distrust others, undermining team autonomy. Credit hoarding. Ego-driven colleagues claim success to feed their image. Fear of collaboration. Ego resists teamwork that may highlight others' strengths. 10. Ego triggers in social interactions. Understanding what activates the ego can help us manage it. Common triggers include trigger ego, response impact, criticism, defensiveness, denial blocks, feedback, and learning rejection, withdrawal, attack, overcompensation, erodes connection, comparison, envy, competitiveness, undermines appreciation of others, authority challenged power assertion, discrediting others, creates conflict, vulnerability, avoidance, emotional shutdown, prevents intimacy. Recognizing these triggers allows us to respond mindfully rather than react impulsively. 11. Psychological theories supporting ego's impact on social health. A. Carl Jung, Shadow and Persona. Ego builds a persona, public mask, to gain social approval. It hides the shadow self, repressed traits. Relationships suffer when persona dominates and authenticity is lost. B. Carl Rogers, Congruence. Mental health and relationships flourish when there is congruence between inner self and outer expression. Ego creates incongruence, acting differently than one feels, leading to discomfort and disconnection. C. Attachment theory. Ego-based behaviors, e.g., avoidance, control, fear of abandonment, often stem from insecure attachment styles. Ego protects the wounded child, but in doing so, it repeats dysfunctional patterns. 12th. Scientific research and findings. A. Narcissism and relationships. A study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, Campbell and Foster, 2002, found that narcissism, an inflated ego trait, O correlates with short-term attraction, but long-term dissatisfaction in relationships. O increases manipulative behaviors like love bombing and gaslighting. B. Ego and emotional regulation. Research shows that people with high ego involvement in arguments experience increased cortisol, faster heart rate, and poorer problem solving. These stress responses impair empathy and escalate conflict. Kemeny et al., 2004. C. Humility and relationship quality. Studies, e.g., by Exline et al., 2012, found that humility, the opposite of ego inflation, O enhances forgiveness, O increases openness to feedback, O improves partner satisfaction. 13. The trap of ego in social validation. Ego often creates a self-reinforcing cycle. 1. Ego seeks validation, needs approval to feel worthy. 2. Perceives lack of recognition, feels threatened. 3. Acts out, aggression, withdrawal. Damages relationships. 4. Ends up isolated, increases need for validation. Breaking this cycle requires self-awareness and internal security, not external approval. 14. How ego sabotages conflict resolution. Ego prevents effective conflict management by refusing to see the other's perspective, escalating blame rather than seeking understanding, withholding forgiveness to protect pride, insisting on being right instead of finding peace. Healthy conflict resolution depends on empathy, emotional flexibility, willingness to repair, not to win. Ego blocks all of these unless it is consciously managed. 15. Practical steps to reduce ego in social relationships. Practice active listening. Focus entirely on the other person without formulating your reply. Repeat back what they said to confirm understanding. Pause before reacting. Notice physical ego signals, tight chest, defensive thoughts. Take a breath and ask, what part of me feels threatened here? Use I statements. Speak from experience rather than blame. Oh, I feel hurt when. Oh, you always make me feel. Be open to feedback. Ask, how do you experience me in this relationship? Avoid interrupting or defending. Practice apology and repair. Admit mistakes quickly and sincerely. Ask, what do you need from me to make this right? Choose connection over control. Ask, would I rather be right or be close? Conclusion. Expanded. The ego, while part of every person, becomes a barrier in relationships when it dominates behavior. Whether through pride, defensiveness, control, or insecurity, an ego-driven person often pushes others away, ironically while seeking connection, love, or respect. True social harmony is not achieved by building a perfect image, but by being authentic, empathetic, humble, and emotionally present. Letting go of ego doesn't mean losing identity. It means becoming free enough to connect with others from a place of strength, not fear. Thank you.